Riverside Park was wrapped in the kind of warm, late-afternoon calm that made the world feel slower, softer, almost deceptively peaceful. Golden sunlight spilled over the trees, turning the grass into a glowing carpet of green. Families wandered lazily along the winding paths, parents pushing strollers, joggers weaving between benches, and old couples sharing quiet conversations as they fed ducks near the pond. Laughter drifted in the air, children's giggles, a cyclist shouting a friendly greeting, the rustle of wind in the leaves. It should have been just another gentle summer day in Atlanta. But peace is fragile, and sometimes all it takes is a single voice, a small, trembling voice to break it wide open. "They hurt my dog." The scream pierced through the park so sharply that even the birds seemed to stop mid-song. Michael Lawson looked up from the newspaper resting on his lap, his heart tightening at the raw panic in that cry. He wasn't a man who reacted quickly any more, not since tragedy had taught him how dangerous sudden movements could be, but this voice struck him like an electric shock. His eyes searched the wide green lawn until he saw her, a little girl, no more than 6, sprinting barefoot across the grass with such desperation that it made his stomach twist. Her yellow dress fluttered like a torn flag in the wind. Her small brown hands clutched a bundle of limp, trembling fur. Tears streaked down her cheeks, cutting through specks of dust as her braids flew wildly behind her. "They hurt my dog," she cried again, closer now, her breath hitching between sobs. Michael rose slowly, the newspaper sliding off his lap and fluttering to the ground. The girl stopped a few feet away, panting, struggling to hold the shivering puppy upright. The tiny creature let out a sharp whimper, its back leg dangling uselessly. Michael's voice softened instantly. "Let me see her." The girl hesitated, fear, confusion, and hope all swirling in her wide, tear-glossed eyes. She took one shaky step closer. Michael crouched and slipped off the gray jacket he had been wearing, wrapping the puppy inside it with steady, practiced movements. The little dog pressed into the warmth of the cloth, breathing shallowly. "She's breathing," Michael said softly. Scared but alive, the girl's bottom lip trembled. They kicked her. Michael followed her gaze across the field. 2 teenage boys leaned against expensive bicycles, their sneakers bright white in the sun. One nudged the other and smirked, a cruel, careless expression Michael recognized too well. The other boy tossed a stone into the fountain as if nothing mattered in the world except the sound it made. Cruelty disguised as casual confidence. Michael had seen that kind of cruelty on battlefields, in boardrooms, in lawmakers who used polite smiles to hide their sharpest knives. This was smaller, but the seed was the same. "They said we don't belong here," the little girl whispered, her voice cracking. Michael's jaw tightened. He looked at her, really looked at her tiny trembling shoulders, her scraped knee, her dirt-stained dress, and the fierce love with which she held the wounded puppy. "You belong anywhere kindness does," he said quietly. She blinked up at him, not fully understanding, but clinging to his words anyway. "My name's Anna," she whispered. "She's Bella. All right, Anna," he said. "Let's get Bella some help." "We can't," she said quickly, shaking her head. "Mama says vets cost too much." The way she said it, soft, ashamed, like she expected to be scolded, stabbed him deeper than he expected. "Don't worry," he said firmly. "I'll take care of it." She looked at him again, searching him, testing him. She didn't. To know that the man kneeling in front of her, the tired-eyed stranger in the clean shirt, was a billionaire who spent most days trying to avoid the world. She didn't to know that her voice had cracked something open in him he had thought was gone forever. But she could sense honesty, and she nodded. Michael lifted Bella gently into his arms and stood. "Come on, sweetheart," he murmured. They walked side by side along the curving path. People stared, whispering behind half-covered mouths. An older white man guiding a barefoot black child, holding a half-broken dog. But Michael ignored them. The only thing he focused on was the tiny girl walking bravely beside him, still sniffling but refusing to cry again. "Is Bella going to die?" she asked in a voice barely above a whisper. "No," he said, though he wasn't entirely sure. "Not if we get her help." When they reached his car, a silver luxury sedan, Anna paused. She'd seen cars like this before, but never up close, never with someone who spoke kindly. He opened the back door and helped her inside. The puppy whimpered as Anna placed her tiny hands over Bella's head. "It's okay," Anna whispered to the dog. "I got you." The drive was quiet, too quiet. Michael stole glances in the rearview mirror. Anna wasn't crying anymore. She was doing everything she could to stay strong for Bella. That determined look on a child's face too young to know what resilience even was nearly shattered him. Memories he had buried deep clawed at him. Another voice. Another plea for help he couldn't give. His wife's voice, broken and bleeding in the wreckage. He pushed the memory away, focused on the road, on Anna, on Bella. On this moment he still had the chance to change. When the car finally rolled to a stop outside the small veterinary clinic, the sky had deepened into gold. A warm wind chime jingled above the clinic door as he pushed it open. A receptionist lifted her head. "Do you have an appointment?" "Emergency," Michael said, and something in his voice made her stand immediately. "Room 2. He filled out the forms using Anna's name as the owner. He paid without blinking. The vet examined Bella with gentle hands. "Just a sprain," she finally said. "She heal." Anna's knees nearly buckled with relief. Michael watched her hug Bella, small shoulders shaking with gratitude and exhaustion. And something inside Michael shifted, just a little, a spark in the ashes. Maybe even the beginning of something he had long thought impossible, hope. And as they stepped back out into the twilight, Bella limping gently beside them, Michael Lawson, billionaire, widower, and man who had forgotten how to care felt, for the first time in years, the faint, fragile warmth of purpose returning. The sky had shifted from gold to the soft blue of early evening as Michael, Anna, and limping little Bella walked out of the vet clinic. Street lamps flickered awake, one by one, spreading halos of warm light over the quiet sidewalk. Cars passed slowly, the hum of traffic mixing with the distant chatter of people stepping out of nearby shops. The world felt gentler than it had an hour before, but Anna still held Bella close, as if the universe might try to take her away again. Michael slowed his pace to match the tiny girl's steps. He could see the exhaustion in her small shoulders, the way she clung to Bella not just out of love, but out of fear that if she loosened her grip, everything good in her life might slip away. Children who grew up with not enough money, safety, kindness, always held on the tightest. "Where's your mom, Anna?" he asked softly. "At work," she said, brushing her braids behind her ear. "She's a nurse at the hospital. She works lots. Sometimes nights, sometimes mornings. Sometimes both." She frowned, as if trying to untangle time with the logic of a 6-year-old. "She helps sick people even when she's tired." "That must be hard," Michael murmured. Anna nodded. "Mama says being tired is okay. Being unkind isn't." He smiled at that small, involuntary, but real. "Your mom sounds like a very wise woman." "She is," Anna said proudly. Then her voice fell to a whisper. "Sometimes I hear her crying when she thinks I'm asleep." Michael's steps faltered, but only for a moment. He had once known what it meant to love someone so fiercely the world as weight crushed you both. He also knew the quiet grief of holding your pain in the dark so your child didn't see. "You help her more than you know," he said softly. Anna looked up at him with wide eyes, as if the idea had never crossed her mind. The walk to her home took them through a neighborhood of old brick buildings and worn sidewalks. Laundry hung from balconies like flags of survival. The smell of chicken frying drifted from an open window. A group of boys played basketball with a dented ball in a small cracked courtyard. They paused as Anna passed, staring, curious, some with sympathy, some with suspicion at the tall white man walking beside her. Michael wasn't offended. He knew exactly what he looked like in this neighborhood, someone who wasn't he supposed to be here. But he kept walking, gently holding Anna's hand. "Which one is yours?" he asked. Anna pointed at a building with peeling paint and uneven steps. 6B, she said. "Mama says it's small, but it's ours." They climbed the narrow staircase together. Anna hesitated at the door, instinctive pause. as if bracing herself for the worry she knew she'd see on her mother's face. Before she could knock, the door flew open. A woman in blue hospital scrubs stood there, confusion turning into panic the instant she saw her daughter. Her eyes darted from Anna to Bella to the stranger behind them. "Anna, where on earth? What happened? Why is Bella limping? Baby, are you hurt?" Her voice was sharp with fear, not anger. "I'm okay, Mama," Anna said quickly. "Bella got hurt. But he helped us." Only then did the woman seem to truly see Michael, and she froze.
Linda poured water into a glass and handed it to him with both hands, as if something simple could still be an offering of gratitude. He took a sip. "Thank you." She studied him, eyes narrowing slightly, not with suspicion, but with curiosity. "You're not from around here." "No," he admitted. "What made you help her?" Michael glanced at Anna sitting cross-legged on the floor, gently stroking Bella's ears. The puppy rested her head on the girl's lap. "Because somebody should," he said quietly. Linda's eyes softened. "You're a good man," she said. Michael opened his mouth to respond, but no words came out. He didn't feel like a good man. He felt like a man who had spent too many years avoiding the world because it hurt too much to face it. So he just nodded. After a few more minutes, he stood. "I should go." Anna scrambled to her feet. "Will we see you again?" He paused at the door. For most of his life, the answer would have been no. But something about this child, her innocence, her resilience, her trust had reached into a part of him he thought had died with his wife. "Maybe you will," he said gently. Anna's smile lit up the room. Linda walked him to the door. "Thank you," she said again. "For everything." He nodded, stepped outside, and began walking down the dimly lit sidewalk. As he reached a street corner, he heard Bella bark softly once, just once, as if sending him off with gratitude he didn't know how to carry. And for the first time in years, Michael Lawson felt the faintest hint of something he'd forgotten how to feel: belonging. The next afternoon arrived warm and bright, but not peaceful. Not for Michael. Not for Anna, and certainly not for the neighborhood that would soon learn just who exactly had hurt Bella the day before. Michael slept barely 2 hours. The memory of the girl's tear-streaked face lingering like a bruise he couldn't press without feeling pain. When morning light spilled across his kitchen, he found himself staring at his phone, thumb hovering over the number on Anna's vet paperwork. Linda Walker. He didn't call. He didn't know what he'd say. He only knew one thing. He needed to check on them, not out of duty, not out of guilt, out of something quieter. Something he hadn't felt since long before grief had turned him into a silent ghost living behind glass walls. So he returned to Riverside Park. Joggers worked their way around the pond. Children tossed crumbs to ducks. People moved with the casual ease of those who believed the world was safe. But Michael's eyes found what he had expected to find. The boys, the same two who had kicked Bella, the same two who had told a 6-year-old girl she didn't belong here. They sat on their expensive bikes, laughing, tossing a basketball between them. Their clothes were spotless, their shoes expensive, their arrogance radiant. Michael watched them for a long moment. Yesterday he had tended to the wounded. Today he wanted to understand the wound makers. He approached calmly. "Morning, boys." They turned. Both froze. One tall sandy-haired recognized him instantly. His smirk evaporated. "We didn't do anything," he said too quickly. Michael's voice stayed calm. "You hurt a little girl's dog." The second boy scoffed. It was just a stupid dog. A silence fell that made even the wind pause. Michael's gaze sharpened, not angry, worse, disappointed. I see, he said quietly. Tell me something. Who taught you that strength means hurting someone smaller? Neither boy answered. The sandy-haired one swallowed hard. We didn't know She-Light belonged here. My dad says he stopped abruptly, but the unfinished sentence told Michael everything. Your dad says, and in that moment, the cold recognition inside him shifted. This wasn't just cruelty. This was inheritance. Passed down like a family heirloom, a legacy of small men who used hate to feel tall. Come with me, Michael said. Why? The second boy asked. Because you're going to fix what you broke. The boys hesitated, but authority is a strange thing. Some people demand it, others simply have it. Michael Lawson had it without needing to raise his voice. And so, reluctantly, they followed. Not far away, across the neighborhood, Anna Walker was braiding her hair in front of the couch, while Bella, leg wrapped in a tiny bandage, rested beside her. Linda sat at the kitchen table eating cereal in scrubs she'd ironed at dawn. A knock came. Anna ran to the door, Bella hobbling behind her. She opened it and froze. Because standing outside was the tall white man who had saved her yesterday, and the two boys who had hurt her puppy. Anna's breath caught. Bella whimpered. Linda shot up from her chair, eyes sharp with protective instinct. It's okay, Michael said gently. They're here to talk. The boys shifted awkwardly. Fear flickered in their faces, not fear of punishment, but fear of being the villain of the story. Sandy Hair cleared his throat. We're sorry. The words were forced, but they were words. The second boy mumbled, yeah, sorry, we hurt your dog. Anna held Bella a little closer. Why'd you do it? She whispered. The first boy hesitated, then said the truth, raw and unpolished. We didn't think you were supposed to be here. My dad said this park was for people like us. Linda stepped forward, fury rising, but Michael's gentle hand touched her arm. He shook his head. Let Anna decide. The little girl stood there, tiny and brave, her voice trembling but steady. You were mean, she said, but Bella forgives people fast. The boys blinked. Anna gently lowered Bella to the floor. The puppy limped forward and sniffed their shoes, then licked the first boy's hand. The boy flinched, then something inside him cracked because kindness, given freely, weighs heavier than punishment. Can we? Sandy Hair swallowed. Can we pet her? Anna nodded once. They knelt awkwardly but earnestly. Bella licked their fingers again. Anna watched, guarded but hopeful. Michael stepped back, leaning on the rail of the small building. He didn't interfere. He didn't lecture. He didn't preach. He simply let the moment play out. Because sometimes the hardest lessons had to come from innocence, not authority. When the boys finally stood, Linda crossed her arms. I hope you two learned something. Yes, ma'am, they said quickly. They left in silence, not running away, but walking like boys who had, for the first time, seen themselves clearly. Anna turned to Michael, eyes bright. Thank you, she whispered. For what? He asked softly. For making them see me. Michael felt something warm spread in his chest. You deserve to be seen. Linda looked at him with quiet gratitude. You didn't have to do that. I know, he said. But I wanted to. They stood there in the warm afternoon light, the kind that made the world look softer around the edges. Then Linda spoke, hesitant. We're making dinner tonight. It's nothing fancy, but would you like to join us? Michael opened his mouth. His instinct, sharp from years of isolation, leaped forward. Say no. Stay safe. Don't get close. But something else smaller, braver rose from deeper inside. Yes, he said unexpectedly. I'd like that. Anna grinned. Bella barked. And the day that began with cruelty slowly, quietly, reshaped itself into a day of something far stronger. Connection, kindness, family not by blood, but by choice. And for Michael Lawson, whose heart had lived more years in silence than in laughter, it felt like stepping out of winter and into sunlight. Evening settled slowly over the city, smearing the sky with soft strokes of amber and violet. It was the kind of twilight that made everything feel like it was balancing delicately between what had been and what could still be. For Michael Lawson, walking toward the Walkers' small brick apartment building felt almost surreal. He had eaten dinner with CEOs, politicians, and ambassadors. He had sat in halls gilded with chandeliers, where every plate cost more than a man's monthly salary. Yet now, as he climbed the narrow stairway to 6B's, his heartbeat thudded with a nervousness he hadn't felt since his 20s. Family homes had a different gravity, a warmth that pulled you in, even if you weren't sure you belonged. Before he could knock, the door opened. Anna stood there, beaming, holding Bella under one arm like a fuzzy loaf of bread. You came, she said, as though she hadn't really believed he would. Of course, he smiled. She grabbed his hand and pulled him inside. Linda Walker stood in the small kitchen, stirring a pot on the stove, still in her scrubs, but looking somehow more alive than she had earlier. The apartment smelled like garlic, pepper, and something warm and familiar. Hope you're hungry, she said. I cooked too much. Michael looked around. The apartment was tiny but tidy, family photos on the walls, school papers pinned to a corkboard, a wobbly lamp held together with tape. But there was life here, real life, something he had forgotten existed. I'm starving, he said. Anna giggled. Grown-ups always say that even when they're not. Michael chuckled. You caught me. I had a sandwich at noon. That's not dinner, Anna declared. Linda covered a smile. She's right, you know. Anna pointed to the table mismatched chairs, a fading tablecloth, a bowl of salad and plates set for 3. Sit there, she directed. Michael obeyed. He lowered himself into the cheap wooden chair, but he felt comfortable, more comfortable than in any luxury dining room he had ever sat in. Linda plated the food, simple pasta, roasted vegetables, garlic bread, nothing impressive, nothing extravagant. But as she set it on the table, something in the room shifted. It felt like a home. It felt like belonging. They began eating. At first, the conversation was polite weather, school, work. Anna chattered about Bella's miraculous bravery and how the puppy only cries a little now. But that's okay because she's tough like a superhero. Michael listened, smiling, sipping water as though it were a fine wine. Then came the moment that changed the tone of the entire dinner. Linda lowered her fork. I want to thank you again. For yesterday. For today. For everything. Michael shook his head gently. You don't owe me anything. Yes, she said softly. I do. Most people would have walked past a crying child in the park. Not most people, Anna piped up. Not him. Michael swallowed the lump building in his throat. Linda's eyes softened. My husband always said heroes don't wear capes. They just show up when others walk away. The room fell into a respectful silence. Anna glanced between them. Mama tells stories about Daddy sometimes. Want to hear one? Michael nodded. I'd love to. So Anna told a story. Her little voice soft but animated. She spoke of a firefighter who rescued a kitten from a burning shed even though everyone said it was NT worth the risk. That kitten lived with us, she said proudly. His name was Sir Fluff. Michael smiled. A noble title. He was very noble. Anna nodded. Serious. He had like 3 whiskers missing from the fire, but he didn't mind. Linda laughed quietly. We miss that cat, and we miss Daddy, Anna said softly. But he still helps people. Michael tilted his head. How's that? Anna pointed to her chest. He helps me be brave. Every day. Michael's heart squeezed, warm and aching. Linda brushed a hand over her daughter's hair. She's stronger than she knows. Anna grinned shyly, then asked, Do you miss someone too? The question hit like a gentle punch to the ribs. Michael inhaled slowly. Yes, my wife. Oh, Anna whispered. Did she go to heaven too? He nodded once. What was she like? Anna asked. Michael hesitated, not from pain, but from the tenderness of the memory. She was kind, he said softly. She loved helping people, and she believed that even small acts of kindness could change someone's whole life. Linda smiled faintly. Sounds like someone else I know. The compliment drifted through the air like warm smoke, settling somewhere deep in him. For a moment, the room held 3 people who understood loss, understood love, understood what it meant to survive heartbreak. Dinner continued with lighter stories, Anna's school adventures, Bella's mischief, Linda's night shift stories that made Anna roll her eyes dramatically. By the time dessert came, a simple bowl of fruit, Michael felt something he couldn't name at first. Then he realized he felt full. Not from the meal, from belonging. After dinner, Anna insisted they all take Bella out to the small courtyard behind the building. Twilight had deepened into a velvet blue, fireflies glowing like tiny lanterns in the grass. Bella limped but wagged her tail furiously, determined to enjoy life despite her pain. Anna held Michael's hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. I like when you're here, she said. He looked down. I like being here. Will you come again? Michael opened his mouth, but before he could answer, Linda spoke behind him.